Good morning. It is lovely Saturday sunny morning. Episode 17, and this is Thigh's iPhone. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just getting to grips with the version of this I recorded a while back. I think did a video where so I recorded the live version of it, I remember, and I did pretty badly at it, but hadn't played it for a while. But anyway, you've heard the acoustic version, so it's back there, and I'll put a link at the end of the video to that particular performance. So I then recorded a version using the acoustic guitar standard mic setup that I've been using for everything, and I had added a very simple drum beat to it as usual as a click. So what I've done so far with this is literally I've just added the same producer drum kit and drummer to the track as I've been using up to now. So the Manchester kit with the Ian drummer. It's kind of odd speaking about, it's kind of like AI, but he's real to me. Anyway, so and I've noticed a kind of trend with the songs kind of up to now where I'm starting to feel like I'm falling into a bit of a trap, in that because I'm starting from the same place each time with the acoustic guitar and everything, and then developing it along similar lines. So far with the tracks that I've done, I feel like I'm, it's good. I mean, I'm finding a sound, I suppose, or whatever, as I go along. But I don't want everything to be same-ish either, right? I'd like to mix it up. So I'm thinking for this potentially, and also my next project might be a song called Templeton's Blues that I want to rock, essentially. So I've gone kind of nuts with the drum kit in hopes that this is going to sort of propel this song a little bit further along. And I don't know if this is a bit of a shame. I'd say the acoustic guitar part is possibly the most, it's very simple chords, but it's possibly the most complex chord structure in the choruses and the pre-chorus that I've really ever written. Not that it, in relative terms, it might not be complex at all. I'm not suggesting that for a moment, but certainly in terms of my writing, it's probably the most complex I've written. And also the verse guitar part is quite delicate, right? So I don't know if you recall, but I'll just play a little bit here. I'll mute the drums for now. Right, there's little runs in it and stuff. So there's quite a lot going on with just the acoustic guitar part, and I'm going to choose to ignore that, right? Not that I'm going to take away from it, right? It's going to be there in the mix at the moment. It's the guide guitar. It's not perfect throughout, but it's pretty good. I could probably use it. It's not very lumpy, but I kind of got a little nuts with the drum track. So I'll play you that at the moment. So we've got this nice sort of picky guitar part. Okay, and I've added these drums to it. So they're quite, quite full on, and I like them. I do. At the moment, what I think this next steps that I'm going to take with this are actually I haven't done it on the other tunes that I've worked with when I've added these producer kits, but I think it's probably time that I spend a fair amount of effort getting the idea of how this producer setup works with the drum kits, because I've never done it. I mean, it's fairly obvious. I've never done it before. Firstly, I need to do it on all of the tracks, right? So I need to get my head around it and work with it on all of the tracks that I'm doing. And because I'm starting out with this one at a very basic level, I haven't added anything to it. Then it's kind of the perfect time. So I got a bit nuts with the drum beat just because I want something really, really full on to play around with. It just happens to be Thigh's iPhone sitting there in the back with this nice, delicate picking guitar part. Although it's quite strummy and sort of open in the chorus. So, and as I've said, I like it. So at the moment I've just got a simple loop on. I've sort of cut that a little bit so that it will, so the fills all fit in with the song structure, etc. But I haven't done anything else with it because what I'm going to concentrate on, I mean, in terms of playing around with the MIDI or changing the way the drum beat works, because the idea is just to have that as a constant throughout so that I can go through each and every single one of these mic emulations. And as you can see, I've already started playing with them. So it consists of this. This is which is my main drum bus, and then each one of these different mics. I've got these buses down here. I need to do some research. Anyway, so that's going to be episode 17. So I've spent about an hour, maybe a bit more, hour and a half, playing around. I've watched some YouTube, and so I think I'm getting a sense of it, of what it is that I have in my hands. It's hugely complex, and maybe this series of videos should actually be about logic as opposed to can I write a song or can I write an album or anything along those lines. But because this is such a fascinating thing to suddenly get your hands on and realize what you've got at your disposal, and the permutations of what you could do is pretty much endless, which is really interesting. But anyway, look, I thought what I'd do is just finish off the video with a quick rundown of what I've done so far with the producer kit. So let me just so what have I done? Okay, so I've done a bit of discovery, I should firstly say. So I was confused initially about what these drum buses here were. Room A, Room B and Leak. And it essentially, if you combine that with, let me pull this up. So you essentially get the same drum designer you do even in GarageBand, right? But the permutations of what you can do here are kind of endless, because I can go in here, choose from a whole host of different bass drums, etc. I've got gain controls down here on the different elements. I can choose each and every one of the different sets, toms, snares. I can adjust and tune each piece of the kit there. On top of that, because I've got each of the mic emulations along here, I can also add EQ to each and every one. Now I've put an EQ, channel EQ in here on each of these, but a lot of them I've just left as a flat response. So I think that's what you call it, and really they're just there as analyzers, right? So I can see what's going on with each frequency, all of the frequencies. I'm conscious when I'm Oh, sorry, I should pull this over here so you can see it. Yeah, so flat response like this, but obviously when I play, I get the analyzer pop up here at the bottom, so it gives me a chance to analyze the frequencies. I'm very conscious of the fact that I should be keeping space aside for various other instruments as and when I add them into this, because at the moment I've just got the acoustic guitar there, and I haven't actually done any work on the acoustic guitar from what I can recall. Just the normal, just the mic pre's, but literally again those are just flat, so it's just the they're just colouring the signal as it goes through. So at the moment really this is just about the drum kit. It's the but further down the line I'm going to be adding bass. I'm going to be adding all of the other bits and pieces, so I need to keep those frequencies sort of free, and I'm sure I'll adjust more as I go along, right? But so actually what I found was choosing the right bass drum was actually almost the key to getting a sound I liked. I played around with all of the other stuff, moved things around, and the snare actually. So choosing the right snare and bass, which is that's not surprising, I suppose, really. But yeah, I played around. So I started with just the kit in there. It didn't matter what I did to the EQ. I just couldn't get the bass drum to sound good. But then I chose, I think it was tight birch in the end or something along those lines, and it popped in. And then everything I did on the EQ suddenly seemed to work properly. I've essentially with the kick not done much, just taken out the very low end with the kick in, and with the kick out I think I boosted, so I boosted, what is that, 75 hertz. I have added a compressor to this, and I'll do a sort of A/B test on those so you can hear what the differences are. And again with the snare, so I've worked on the bass in, bass out, snare, top, snare, bottom. I haven't done anything with the toms because there really isn't any. It's all snare fills at the moment in this drum beat. So when I add some toms in, then obviously I'll play around with those. I also played around quite a lot with, and this is just cool, right? A stereo spread on the drum room, and a space designer. Put that over here as well. Now I have to say, with most of these, I've used presets. That's not true. The EQ work that I've done, that's all just me moving stuff around. With the plugins that I've added in, which are just the ones that are in Logic, I haven't used anything other than the Logic versions, although I do have some of these available to me. They use up quite a lot of processing speed, so they slow things down a little bit if I add them in. I may very well do that because I will eventually write this drum track down, right? So so before I do that, I might actually swap out these ones for a Waves Audio or a UAD one if I think it's better. But at the moment I've just used these and I'm happy with the results I'm getting, but I am just using the presets. This is just the default, although I have changed the order of the spread and I've changed the frequency spread that I'm using as well. Not much, but it did make quite a big difference. And then with the space designer, I've literally just pulled this drum booth 3 through, and I haven't done anything else to it. That is also quite key, I found, to getting the sound, is getting that room sounding good. And then also there's this leak track. I haven't done anything to this except, actually I have done something to this. So yeah, there's this leak. They've made this, relatively, and I suppose it's true. I mean, they probably have recorded the kit, so I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. But there's some quite horrible. So I've taken out a whole chunk here, and I've pulled this up. Anyway, and it's I can, and what I found with that, the difference wasn't really that it was horrible in the mix. It didn't sound very good if I just left it by itself, right? So when I soloed it, it sounded, yeah. But in the mix, it was all right. What I found was doing those EQ changes to it actually just made the overall sound of the mix tighter. So that's what I've ended up with. I don't want this video to go too long, but this might be actually a bit of a longer one. But I am going to play some of this so you can hear where I've got to. I mixed it quite a lot in the phones, but I did move to the speakers in the end, but you'll just hear the sound through the desk on here. Yeah. And I mean, I like that sound. I'm quite pleased with it. But a lot of this was just turning things on and off. So if I add in, let's go to this kick. So if I see, I'm not sure I like that better. I think I prefer that. So I'm just going to take those out. Now I might do some work on the compressor side of things, but I haven't got it right. I don't 100% know what I'm doing. I need to do some more research on it. But just as a simple EQ exercise, trying to get this drum kit to sound good just by using EQ, I don't think is a bad thing either. I did try playing around with the overheads and adding some EQ and a space designer in there, but in the end I just took it off. Yeah, and the EQ on the snare, again, conscious of taking out kind of the woolliness and then boosted on the top, almost, 398 hertz. And then on the snare bottom, sorry, let me pull these across here, I keep doing that, I'm so sorry. So 398 here on the snare top, and then kind of taken, left a bit on the snare bottom, I've left a bit more of the low end in, and again sort of scooped out this frequency here, which I just didn't like the sound of. Like that, but quite like it, like, so snare and bass together. And then I go back to the full. The hi-hat was already over to the right. I haven't done anything with the EQ of that, but as I've said, I got this on here so that the EQ on here so that I can bring up the analyzer, which helps. But I've panned the tambourine over to the other side. I haven't put anything on that. And there you can see what these. So that's the Room A, which I've used, which has got that stereo spread device on it, and the space designer, and then this is the lead track. So you can see this has got that kind of, it's not a very nice woolliness to it, it's soloed, but you can hear the difference if I leave the room in there, then add the leak in. Just gives it that bigger, wider feel straight away. But there, so that's that for this video anyway. So I apologise, this one's gone on a bit long, and if you've watched to the end, it's amazing. But episode 17, producer drum kits, Di's iPhone, all good.